Hello guys, this is one of my first articles on X. So I want to share my thoughts on why Vanessa the Ringleader is one of my favorite cards in recent memory. So I try to depict that in this picture here. It is a combination of miracle, which means you play like a lot of cards, right? And then value, right? After you play, you get cheap battle cry minions back. This combination is a lot of fun. So that's what I've tried to depict in this picture. Now let's jump into my thought. Vanessa is one of the more compelling cards I have played in recent Hearthstone memory because it has a lot of interesting things for a single card. Yes, you can generate a lot of value. You can generate even a lot of tempo. It gives you a lot of fuel. It helps you like think about your future turns. Like a lot of like strategies involved in playing. This really stands out and is worthy of a legendary tag. Surely, right? An epic legendary, I will add, to be honest. Firstly, it forces you to build a deck around it, which helps you think about the deck building aspect of it. Now, I wouldn't say force after playlisting a little bit. I would say it's more of if you build a deck, especially around it, like a aggro or I would say Vanessa alone with very cheap spells in row, then it really is like you go turn 2 with Vanessa, then turn 3 you just start the miracle, right? But I wouldn't say force at all because we can go late game version and I even played a druid version of Vanessa as well. So we'll discuss those. But right now, like it's not a force, but definitely if you build a deck around it, you are rewarded. Secondly, you need to set up your turn with the new prepare keyword. Bank your spare mana a turn or two before going miracle. That's a good strategy, right? So you have to plan like, am I going turn 2 prepare, turn 3 start playing her because I have all the cards set up, or and my deck is not very tailored to Vanessa in the sense like not all of my deck is built around her, but I do have cheap cards to play, but perhaps I will get a little more value if I go turn 4, turn 5, even turn 8 and some. The planning phase really brings a lot of depth to playing this card. Thirdly, the fun from playing her comes from a combination of two of the following things: miracle and value. Miracle. Miracle aspect would be playing her with a lot of cheap cards to generate a massive lead over your opponent. It's a huge power spike with the tempo if possible. So the thing is, this is where right now you have thought about your future turns. You have prepared. Now you are waiting for that turn. So it can be turn as early as turn 3, or you can push it to 4, 5, or even 8. So that way you get like max because you can generate so many cards, and like the more you wait the more tempo you get, but if you wait too much then you might get overwhelmed by the opponent, right? So that kind of balancing act with this miracle is a lot of fun, and people love playing a lot of cards, especially the rogue players. I don't need to tell that, right? Next one is your miracle plays help you generate battle cry minions with a 2 mana discount on each of them, which technically makes your future turns faster than your opponent. So because you're cheating a lot of mana, right? Sometime upwards of like I would say I would say turn 5 you can cheat upwards of 10 mana, I think, right? If you have like some coin, you can easily cheat 10 mana worth of hearts, right? 10 mana in even above. Like the more you wait, the more you can mana cheat. In Druid, for example, if you play Vanessa, right? If you ramp early, that means you can quickly get to turn 7, 8, and then you can go Miracle and maybe even cheat 15 to 20 mana. I don't know, like it depends because there are so many variables in this high roll potential, but plan your turns so that you can draw in so much of value with mana cheat. So you are way ahead of your opponent in the future turns as well. So essentially, your win condition is to snowball yourself to victory from the miracle turn onwards. So that's the thing. Once you go miracle, that means you wish to win in another like maximum 2 3 turns, right? Because you're unless the opponent is high rolling higher than you, and they have just board clear you, or they are able to answer your threats, right? But generally, from the turn you go miracle, you most of the time, like at least in the current meta. I'm not talking about the future. I'm talking about the current meta on June 14th, as I'm recording this. In the mulligan phase, try to hard mulligan for her. So I have a specific deck in the bottom of this article. So for that deck is what I'm talking, because we have to be specific, right? We cannot be vague, combining many decks and generalize. I have played the fast version of Vanessa, even the slower variant, which I've shared in this article. Both of them, there was no harm in trying to mulligan for her to start the miracle as early as possible. She has the highest mulligan impact for this deck based on the stats from HS Guru. So the stats are also backing up my claim. It's not like I'm just talking out of thin air or something. So we will see the stats. Again, Shout out to HS Group, not sponsored. So deck I'm playing here, you can see Vanessa the Ringleader, 11.8 mulligan impact here, right here. So you can see like definitely you should be mulliganing for her. And even the fast version I played, I think you will have the similar stats. So I guess you get the idea. An important thing to note is that even if you make subtle mistakes, you can get punished with this deck. Very important. We will discuss why that's the case. For example, timing Vanessa is key. Too early and there is not enough advantage generated to win, right? You are like you get excited, go a little early, and then you fizzle out like a rocket because you don't have enough, I would say, like energy or gas, as they say, to keep going, right? You have to generate a little bit of tempo in that turn, if possible. That is like you get 1 or 2 minions down with her, or protect her with some taunt or something, and then generate enough value. So your next turn, future turns, with a lot of battlecry minions and discounts, will gain you that advantage, right? Turn three, suppose you play her, you generate one, supposed to start snowballing that advantage. But if you don't time it right, might not happen too late and you might get overwhelmed by upfront. So if you like wait for okay, let me wait for a little bit. The greed, right? You keep greeding it, and then yeah, it'll be too late. You play Vanessa, and you'll hope some big thing will start happen. Nothing will happen. You'll just get defeated. The skill, right? That's the way. She's a little bit of a skill testing card as well. The skill is getting the right balance of knowing each matchup, right? So when you play your rogue deck or your druid deck with Vanessa, you kind of get a feel of go miracle at maybe a turn before they go with their power turns. Otherwise, it might not align yourself. That's why I said like each matchup and timing it. Like that's what. Just why? Because if you know when they are going to have a power spike, you will just plan your deck to go one turn before, if possible. That sometimes you will not draw Vanessa womp situation. So speaking of subtle mistakes, which we were discussing earlier, another use case unrelated to Vanessa, like how subtle mistakes not only with Vanessa but generally in deck itself. Like I wanted to give an example. Shout out to Rise was here. So he gave me the inputs for this one. Another use case unrelated to Vanessa would be coining Twilight Mistress in the right turn. For example, there is a huge difference between getting the Twilight Mistress down on turn 8 and just tapping the whole board of your opponent back to their hand, and turn 9. That is the difference between winning the game and losing the game. So one turn late can cost you the game. So to know when to use agent of the old one. So that's why. How do you play Twilight Mistress on turn 8? So generate. If you're going second, you might have a coin. If you can keep it. Otherwise, agent of the old ones will give you a coin, and you can save that coin, plan your turn, and then safeguard yourself from a huge board. And then you get tempo, and then you go ahead, right? To generate the coin into Twilight Mistress is a skill to survive the late game. So that's how that with this deck specifically, this is like a small tip to play this deck. Hand space management is another key aspect of this deck, definitely, right? Because you're sometimes you will be overwhelmed with value. You will have you shouldn't draw too many cards if you're going miracle in the next turn, because you won't have hand space. How where will you store those minions, right? So you need to plan your turns in terms of hand space management as well. You might have to plan your hand size a few turns ahead so that there is space for Vanessa to provide you value. Exactly. What surprised me while evaluating her was that she's more powerful than I originally thought. My initial impression was that banking mid game might lose us the game, because I thought you will be waiting, you will bank, and then the opponent will just overwhelm with tempo or something. And it was not practical to play her in the current meta. Like June 5 when it launched, right? I was thinking that way. However, planning the first few turns, timing her miracle turn well, and understanding a matchup can definitely boost your win rate of this deck, and she becomes a force be reckoned with. 100% true. I gave her 1 star when I first reviewed it. I am happy to, and I told in the video as well, my card rating video, I'll be very happy to be wrong on the star rating for her. But I was wrong, and I'm very happy. And right now, I'll give her a 5 star. Straight out, 5 out of 5. To conclude, I hope Blizzard will build on this template of beautifully blending different strategies into card mechanics to create great Hearthstone cards. Right? Why not? So I don't want to repeat myself, but still testing the player with all these elements which are fun and engaging, a big thumbs up. So that brings us to the conclusion of this article. Please let me know your thoughts on this card and share your experiences playing a Vanessa deck list. Right? Please share it. Either it can be this article, I'll link it in the description. And for those of you who have stayed this long, I'm going to give some key highlights, right? On my Reddit post, I made the same article post on Reddit and I got quite a bit of feedback, and I wanted to share that with you. And before you go, you will find the deck list below that inspired this article. So this was the deck list. I have the entire deck list shared for you guys. And if you like my content here on Twitter or X, you can follow my handle at UC Gaming. So my Reddit post got 106 upvotes for the same article. So I thank the Reddit community. I appreciate all the thoughtful takes. Reading through all the comments about the Vanessa the Ringleader card was fascinating. It was fascinating because to get in touch with like-minded people who are having fun and energy and enthusiasm about the card, that's the entire point of me doing this YouTube channel, right? To connect with the community in some way, shape, or form, and share the excitement and draw inspiration and be an energetic part of the community, bringing happiness and joy to you guys. That's the basic idea. So the key takeaways is some players loved the RNG and creativity, right? They like casino aspect of it. Some love going second with one. So because you get the coin, right? And by the way, Lotus Kingpin here guarantees that. So if you can play them, they both these cards in the same deck, you always go second. Why? Because the coin, right? With coin, you can get one more card or even two more cards. Because if you generate team and a battle minion, it becomes one. And because of coin, if you play that, you get one more card. So like it depends on how cheap the battle criminal is. Some came back just because of Vanessa. Now look at that. Look at the power of that card. Maybe they saw a gameplay on YouTube or on Twitch, and or maybe they read it on Twitter or X, and they got excited. They came back. And I'm not making this up. This was genuinely shared by the redditors. And then some wanted to play her regardless of her win rate, right? They wanted to buy the portraits. They wanted to have all the cosmetics of Vanessa. Of course, and they want to play her in the deck regardless of win rate. Some do not like the mana cheat. I mean, this is like we saw the pros. Now, like people who dislike. So just want to touch upon that as well. Like they don't like the excess mana cheat aspect of the card. Some dislike high variance gameplay. So like sometimes you will get a lot of cheap battle cries, you can get more tempo, more value. Sometimes you will get all slow battle cry minions, which you can play immediately, meta to wait, and that might maybe end up losing you the game or something. It was a mixed bag, but most of them were positive, right? You can say 106 opponents, most of them were positive, and everybody enjoyed playing with this card. To conclude, right, what a card to bring everyone together, right? One card bringing everyone together. So I would say if there is a card like this, it would be the Vanessa, right? My biggest takeaway is that there is no right or wrong way to enjoy Hearthstone. Different players value different things, and I can understand both sides. I mean, like, there's no right or wrong thing, but it's always good to discuss, right? Gives you perspective. I'm eager to know your take. Please share it. It can be you can even share your thoughts on this post. I'll link this also. So you can see, I just made a nice presentation and I took a screenshot. You can say, hey, like 106 supports. Yes, I took a screenshot at 100, just like, 100 essentially. But I will show you the article just as a proof as well. So this is the Reddit article. I made a different like infographic here, if you would call it, or a depiction, whatever you want to say. And this is the Reddit article. If you scroll to the bottom, you can see 107. Instead of 107, yeah, I even got another upvote right now. For those of you who stayed till this point in time, I know it's a long video. And if you are in the mood of checking out some Vanessa based decks, there is Vanessa Druid. There is this late game Vanessa featuring Twilight Mistress, right? Deck here, right? This one. We have the fast version discussed here. And if you don't want Vanessa, you can go for Leeline Burn. They have just buffed the Leeline card, right? Crystallized Leeline. You can try the combo of Burn plus Leeline here. If you don't know any of that, you want to try something brand new, you have Rafam. You can also check out the new cards that are being released. Today I will be releasing the new cards for this last week as well. With that, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.